Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about an era of Thomas and Friends that most fans like to analyze and rant on, the hit entertainment series. The entire fandom is already familiar with this era of the show. After the failure of the first Thomas theatrical film, Britt Allcroft sold the rights of the show to a media television company, Hit Entertainment, in July 2002, during the release of Season 6 and the production of Season 7. In Hit Entertainment's run of the franchise, they have produced 9 seasons, seasons 8 to 16. After their purchase, Hit Entertainment decided to make Thomas and Friends as a lighthearted and kid-friendly show with education for a much younger audience. So a number of major changes were made to the show's format. The biggest change they've made is cut down the giant cast of characters to a cast of 8 main characters and arranged some of the others to side roles. The main cast, named the Steam Team, consists of engines numbered 1 to 7 and Emily, and the narrow gauge engines also became the main focus. Sadly, a number of characters were neglected and shafted into obscurity. Characters Duck, Donald, Douglas, Oliver, Toad, Stepney, Daisy, Boko, most of them have gone out. Along with the dwindled cast came the learning segments, short educational videos that will play in between episodes. Some are animated by Gizmo Animation Limited, and some are filmed with the models and props of the show. The runtime of the episodes were changed from 4.5 minutes to 7 minutes for half-hour broadcast blocks of PBS Kids and Nick Jr. TV airings. The format of the half-hour airings include the opening credits with the Thomas the Tank Engine forward and the Island of Sodor introduction sequence, a prologue explaining the episodes, the first 7 minutes episode plays, then a learning segment and a sing-along, a 4.5 minute episode from Season 7, then another learning segment, the next 7 minutes episode, the engine roll call song, and the end credits. Other major changes include a new writing staff, a new music composer, and a new American narrator. Compared to the classic series that often played dark, spooky, and adventurous with tone, the tone of the hit seasons is more soft, kiddie, and more played to kids. There are so many problems by Hit Entertainment, one of them being the characters. The characters will regress to being silly, brainless, and childish. Edward, the wise, determined, and experienced old engine, becomes very cowardly and doubtful of himself.
"Come on," he puffed, and moved cautiously forward. The first coach moving helped to start the second, and the second helped the third. I've done it, puffed Edward.
I'm sorry, Thomas, Edward wheezed miserably. I'm not a really useful engine anymore, so Topham Hatt will have to send me for scrap.
The light-hearted stories have very gimmicky and nonsensical concepts, including a circus, a magic carpet, a puppet show, and a toy shop and more. But the biggest problem is the 3 strikes formula. The episodes became dumber, unintentional, and boring. While all of the stories utilize different settings and characters, they all have the same plot, which makes them very repetitive. A character is given a job to do by Sir Topham Hatt. He or she tries to do it in a way, but only making a mistake 3 times in a row. The character gets reprimanded for causing confusion and delay, and eventually fixes the mistakes in the end. Does that make a good episode? No. It's a waste of time and potential. The writers really do like using the three strikes formula a lot. If it is used correctly, it would create a good story. But they can't use it for a plot of a character stupidly making mistakes. It's just not entertaining, and the writing just gets more worse when the show enters CGI. There are a handful of decent episodes here and there, but it doesn't change the fact of how Hit Entertainment did the show poorly sometimes. However, there is one of the great episodes that uses a three strikes formula to its right advantage and portrays its characters perfectly, and that is The Magic Lamp. The Magic Lamp is the 14th episode of Season 9. It was written by Sharon Miller, music composed by Robert Hartshorn, and narrated by Michael Angelis in the UK and by Michael Brandon in the US. The plot of the episode is that the winch at the incline has been damaged, and Peter Sam is assigned to deliver supplies to mend it. One evening at the transfer yards, Skarloey tells the other little engines and Thomas a story about a railway legend called Proteus, a magical engine with a special lamp that can grant wishes. Peter Sam is unamused and brushes the tale off, thinking it is silly make-believe, and puffs away with his supplies. During his journey at nightfall, he takes a wrong track and gets lost. He finds some clues that hint on how to find the magic lamp, but turns out to be a fogman's lamp, a bonfire at a campground, and Harold the helicopter with a searchlight. Harold leads Peter Sam to the incline, and after the adventure, Peter Sam has faith and thinks that believing in something will grant you wishes, like Proteus's magic lamp. Now that I explained the synopsis, how does this episode work with the three strikes formula? In the three strikes, the first strike is Peter Sam finding the fogman's lamp. The second strike, he finds the bonfire at the campground. And the third strike, he finds Harold. Well, it's because it is meant to be repetitive. It is to build up the tension that Peter Sam is experiencing, so he will have faith and something to believe in. In most episodes about an engine causing mishaps in such ridiculous and frustrating ways, it makes mistakes in 3 total strikes. And we already knew what will happen next in the story. The character will get into trouble. That sort of plot is very predictable, so it doesn't need to be repetitive. The Magic Lamp differs greatly because it is unpredictable. During the viewing of the story, we will wonder what will Peter Sam find along the way. The three strikes formula can only be used for a story when it needs to have a perfect build-up, and this episode is not an exception. And that's how the Magic Lamp succeeds with three strikes. And now I want to talk about the characters. 3 of them. First is the recurring character, Peter Sam. Peter Sam is an anomaly of a character because unlike the other narrow-gauge engines who are regressed to being playful babies, Skarloey especially,
Whee! Puffs Skarloey as he raced down the hill, straight into the snowbank.
he is the only narrow-gauge engine who was never tarnished or ruined. He was still portrayed as the same kind-hearted, well-mannered, and generous engine in his whole time in the hit series. In this episode, there is a slight new trait to Peter Sam's personality. After Skarloey tells his story about Proteus, He seriously thinks the legend doesn't exist and is more concerned with his job.
I have work to do, huffed Peter Sam. I'm a really useful engine, not a really silly one. The incline must be working by morning, so I won't be wasting my time looking for a silly magic lamp, he tooted proudly.
That contrasts to his previous portrayal in the last seasons. Before, when he was younger, he was very bubbly and careless and would get himself into messes.
This was our fault. We didn't secure them properly. We'll have to get help to pull them out.
In season 9, Peter Sam has slightly grew up. He becomes very stern and sure with the things that matter most. That is actually very nice character growth, and it makes Peter Sam a standout character. The second character I want to discuss is Skarloey. Around this time of the show, the little old engine sadly collapses in character and reduced to being an idiotic, reckless child.
Out of my way! I can't stop! Bashed into Rusty's trucks. Ice cream flew into the air and splattered all over the engines. Sorry, Rusty.
But the magic lamp is the only time where Skarloey is accurately in character, as the one to tell the other engines about Proteus. Because he is an elderly engine who knows old railway legends. And the last character, Proteus. I don't have much to say about him. Proteus, while he is made for the purpose of selling toys, like the other new characters introduced, he is perfectly used as a legendary character in an old tale. What's more intriguing is that the railway legend wasn't confirmed to be real or not. So it raises a question. Does Proteus and his magic lamp even existed? Or is he just a figment made up by Skarloey? It is a mystery, and it is interesting. And with all the hints and clues found by Peter Sam, it leaves up to the fans to craft their own headcanons for the character of Proteus. The magic lamp has other positive elements like its production standouts, the marvelous detailed model work, the eerie fog effects, the chilling atmosphere, and more notably, Peter Sam's small-scale model was used for the first time since season 5, only in the scene with Harold. In conclusion, The Magic Lamp is the best episode of the Hit Entertainment series, and is my favorite Hit Entertainment episode in general. It has a perfect story, it plays the right tone, and it plays the characters consistently. And it wouldn't be better without using the 3 strikes formula. This isn't the only episode that uses the 3 strikes formula correctly. There are other good examples like A Smooth Ride, Percy and the Oil Painting, and Thomas and the Storyteller. But even with these good examples, Hit Entertainment still did a poor effort, and its mediocre storytelling just gets worse until the end. I'm not saying the Hit Entertainment era is bad or that I hate it. It is good and bad in many places. You can argue it is a nostalgic series with some ironic enjoyment, or a nursery rhyme show with babyish lessons for kindergartners. If you dislike these seasons, that's absolutely fine. It comes down to what we decide to enjoy in Thomas and Friends. Should we watch a series that is mature, exciting, and always true to its legacy, or a series that is dumb, boring, but still can work things out? Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you soon.